What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Geek Boutique podcast. That's right. It is Thursday. It sure is 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And that, of course, is my compadre, Aka, also known as Messiah Complex Cosplay. Mr. Jeffrey, how are you doing?
Got all out this week, buddy. I'm proud of you. I'm doing well. It's 14 people are already here. Wow, y'all were just like chomping at the bit to get into the chat today.
Yeah.
I have a feeling some of you got some fan theories of your own that you're going to want to share. We're going to talk about a bunch of them here tonight. And if you've been here long enough and you saw the last time we did this, because it's been some time since the last time we did this, you'll know JS and I agreed on almost none of each other's fan theories. But I think this time we're a little bit more aligned maybe on what we're going to be trying to accomplish. We're probably going to touch on a couple of little subjects to start as well. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Silky C, finally, it's been a week since I've been able to catch the podcast live. Silly Adulting. Hi, gangs. This is Red Moon Glassworks, our friend Steph. Bob, it's an onion. Good to see you, sir.
Hey, Bob. Bob, first of all, Bob, I hope you're doing well, guys. Bob's not been doing too well. He's been under the weather. I mean, I'm not going to start talking about what's going on here, but Bob, buddy, hope you're doing better. Yeah, I really hope you're doing better.
Yeah, get well soon, Bob.
Get well soon.
Send the good energy to Bob, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts and prayers, energy in the universe, whatever works for you, send that Bob's way.
Hi.
Yeah, I saw Keith in his good evening, y'all. Yeah, I was at Forest City Comic Con, by the way, just this past Sunday. It was an interesting experience. Unfortunately, it ran into three different things at the same time. YetiCon was still going on. It was Father's Day, and there was an international kids festival, like a children's festival, right across the road from the venue that it was happening at. So, unfortunately, it wasn't quite as busy as it's been in the last couple of years. It was still a good time. I wanted to specifically shout out Keith because he wore his Superman, yeah, and he added the cowl this time. So he's even got half a cowl on, and he's got a Batman gauntlet on the one side as well. Yeah, it looked fantastic. It looks really like it's really coming along. So big ups to Keith and also to our friend Nicole Bolin that's in there. I enjoy the chaos format of the show, so chaos away. Nicole was good enough to hook me up with a ride down there and back, so that was super cool of her. So I don't know if I thanked you at the time, Nicole. If I didn't, I'm an asshole, so thank you. And don't forget all the downtown construction too. Yes, and they've torn up half of downtown as well, so getting to the venue was not great. Having said that, it's a great con. We had a good time. I was one of the guests and a judge for the cosplay contest. The cosplayers this year just absolutely killed it. So no slight on Forest City. It's a fantastic con. I've been to every one since the beginning. It was great.
Who won the cosplay contest?
In Master, well, we only had one person actually enter into Master, Bunny Tush cosplay, and her cosplay was bonkers. It was so good. So it's like to talk about fan theories, is Megan Murray. Yes, absolutely. And yeah, Silky Cease. I got to see her at with her X-Men 97 Storm. It was very, very cool. So
nice.
And yes, and collaborative cosplay. Steve was there too, scaring the holy shit out of some little kids. London Green Ranger was there with his 3 kids, and one of them was like, "Get me the fuck out of this building." With that giant fucking tree walking around, like
really?
Lost his shit. Like literally, like just get me out. Like he was like Marge on Simpson on the plane. Just, let me off. That was this kid when he saw Groot. Just
I shouldn't be laughing, but come on,
like
that's funny.
Lost his little mind. Poor little dude. So. Yeah, anyways, it was a good time. Looking forward to next year. It was the 10th anniversary. There seems to be a lot of those going around. CKX will just celebrate their 10th. London Comic Con's about to celebrate their 10th. So all those 3 cons all started at the same time, the same year. Pretty wild. We made up in our friends now. Excellent. That's good. Because boy, howdy, did that little boy want nothing to do with you, sir. That was funny. It was cute. Just terror at Groot. Yes. Anywho, I've mumbled long enough. Last week we had 6 people on, and this week it's just me and the French guy. We're just going to talk about
6 people on.
6 people we had last week, which, by the way, big ups to all of them. Everybody killed it. It was a great episode.
Listen,
I'm not adverse to doing more things like that. Like I think, and it's good. You couldn't see me, so it was even better. You could only hear me. Yeah, we've never had 6.
Well, that was And it's funny because as soon as everybody left, all of a sudden we could see
It was
you
working
again.
fine.
I could see you
And
again.
by the way, if you watch the YouTube feed of it,
Yeah, you're
even
just
the times,
nothing.
yeah, there's nothing there. Like you guys are laughing because you could just see my dumb face frozen, but on the feed, there's nothing there at
There's
all.
nothing.
So
So
yeah,
we're
yeah,
making jokes about you being posed, but they can't see
yeah.
the
No
pose,
one can
right?
see it if you're watching it. So yeah,
Yeah,
so dumb.
that's pretty funny. Yeah, there was 6 of us. Whew. That was you know what? It was fun because I feel like the conversation, it's easy to move from
Right.
one to the next because
Yes.
everybody has something to say about whatever was going on, right?
Well, if
So
you remember, it was kind of your original idea for what this was
it
supposed to be. It was supposed
was
to be a roundtable discussion of
correct.
specific topics amongst a bunch of people. It just never worked out that way, and we were finally able to pull it off, and I think it went well. And it's guys, stay tuned.
Mhm.
Like especially if you guys like, if there's a couple of you that know you want to talk about one topic like more in depth, and you've even got like a third. Message us and let us know. We're happy to do a roundtable again. I don't want to have to chase down 3 or 4 guests like I did last time. If you guys have a thing and you want to team up and maybe take us on a debate or
Mm.
something like that, we're totally into that. So love doing it, says Andrew.
Well,
Yes.
last week we didn't have to chase down anybody because
No, but we still had to message each one of them individually and ask them
yes,
specifically if they wanted to be. You know what I mean?
100%,
So if you
100%.
guys have an idea and you guys want to pair up on something, like I know Eric is there. I know Steve and Eric came on together too, but that was more like they were just talking about the same thing. But if you guys want to start a roundtable discussion, let us know. Having said that, what are we talking about today?
Should we be today talking about fan theories or maybe
I
talk
think
about
we
how
should.
I'm not sure all of you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel yet.
Ooh,
And if you're not, shame on
yeah, what the fuck?
you. Make sure you click that subscribe button.
Yeah,
And
what?
why don't you click that like button while you're at it? There's 20 of you right now in the chat. Click that like button, guys. It really helps us out. It helps propagate this through the YouTube sphere.
The
YouTube
sphere.
The
Is YouTube a sphere?
I don't know. You know what? It just helps propagate it through YouTube's algorithm when you click like and you comment
There
on
we
these
go.
videos. So
An algorithm.
please check it out. Also, if you are not following us on one of your podcast platforms, I know all of you guys have Spotify or Apple Music, or actually, we're not on Apple Music yet, but I'm actually working on it.
Okay, good. Because I sent you that link, so hopefully we can get that approved. Yep.
Yeah, I'm actually working on that. But all of the other ones we're on, right? So make sure you go give us a follow there as well.
Salute, by the way.
Oh, yeah, there you go with your little flask from our friend Stephanie, who is in the
Our
chat
friend
right now.
Stephanie with the Witcher. Toss a coin to your Witcher. Cilantro.
Andre Ferguson says the Penguin trailer. I didn't even know there was a new Penguin trailer out.
Yeah, they just dropped the second
out.
trailer for it. I haven't watched it yet, but I am eager to do so.
Uh,
Oh,
no.
before we get into the fun stuff, I do have a slightly serious matter I want to go into just really quickly. I promise I'll be quick. We've talked about it before in the podcast. We've had multiple episodes about it, and it's been bugging me literally since mid-March. So we've talked about body positivity before in the podcast. We've had people on to talk about body positivity, and we've mentioned that fat acceptance is a huge thing, and fat bullying is not okay. But we've also talked about how body positivity doesn't just encompass that, even though that's probably the most egregious and the most body shaming that happens in that kind of sphere, if we're going to keep using the word sphere. All body shaming is bad. Body positivity should go across the board. And Toronto Comic-Con on Saturday, I was dressed as Omni-Man. And by the way, the response was fantastic. Like, I had so many people coming up to me, like people I never thought in a million years. I didn't realize that he'd been added to Mortal Kombat. So not only did I have the people that were fans of the show, but people that were big on the video game side were also approaching me and wanting pictures and stuff. So it was a great day. And as we've all talked about too, you can get a million compliments, but you get one shitty comment, and that's the only thing that kind of sticks in your head. And someone later in the day, we were at the booth, and someone had come up to the side of the booth. I think I know who this someone might be, by the way, and I'm not trying to call them out specifically, but they looked over at me and they said, "Looks like Omni-Man missed a few days at the gym, eh?" And I kind of looked over, and I'm like,
Christ.
what the fuck are you doing right? Like, how would... Now, the only thing I will say is that on Friday, there was a gentleman there that was cosplaying Omni-Man as well. And that dude was jacked.
In
In fact, we follow each other now. So
Yeah.
he's a big muscular dude. So I don't know if this gentleman had seen that guy on the Friday and then saw me on the Saturday. I'm a lot of things. Jacked is not among them. And I don't wear a muscle suit underneath it. It's just me. But still, like, even with a bit of context, it's still like I still couldn't believe the words. So guys, I've mentioned it before. We'll mention it again. We've talked about it before. I'm sure we'll talk about it again. don't say shit like that to other people. You should never be commenting on someone's physical stature, on someone's height, weight, ethnicity, capabilities, any of the things that make up a person's physical being. Why are you opening your mouth and saying anything about it at all? Not cool. Just throwing it out there again, guys. It's literally been bugging me for 2 months now. I want to get off my chest. I mean to talk about it, but I mean, again, we've talked about it so many times in the podcast, so I didn't want to like derail us or do a whole episode on us. But guys, be better. No comments like that to other people. That's bonkers that you would say something like that to somebody.
Yeah,
so.
it fucks up somebody's complete day, right? Like,
yeah, a little bit. Like Christina saying, day. Except when you're short. Yeah, you fucking.
I'm sure there's a joke in there that I'm not privy to.
Oh, but Christina likes to lord the fact that she's exactly 1 inch taller than me every goddamn chance she gets.
Yes, okay.
So here we are.
Yes, okay.
Speaking of shaming.
She means when you're shorter.
Yes, when I'm shorter, apparently.
I see.
Because I had posted at some point that I was 6'2", and she immediately messaged me. She's like, no, I'm 6'2". No, you're not. Thanks, Christina. Appreciate it. Why are we friends? I don't even know. Anyways.
So tonight we're here.
We're not talking about my height, lack thereof, or my lack of musculature. We are here to talk about fan theories, not fan facts. So
first of all, how did you like my thumbnail?
Oh, it's
like, how do you like my X-Files?
That's pretty great.
At a thumbnail. I thought that was fantastic. Guys, we're going to be talking about fan theories. We've done one of these before. We apologize if we talk about some of the ones that we've already talked before, although we kind of went through some of the ones that we're going to be talking about today, and I don't think there's a lot of overlap. So that's it's good that way. But before we get into fan theories, one fan theory turned out to not be a fan theory at all, and it kind of hit the fan. Was it this week? Last week? When the Corridor crew came out with their episode on this?
Right.
When did that come out? Do you remember?
I'm not sure. I'm seeing clips of it, but I haven't watched the whole episode. But if I'm seeing clips, it's recent. So
yeah, same. Yeah, the clips have just come out. They filmed Deadpool 3, or Deadpool. Wolverine filmed Deadpool 3 with a yellow suit. I'm sure everybody's seen the trailer. He's got the yellow suit on, but as some have probably noticed in some of the earlier trailers, he had sleeves on his yellow suit. Which apparently there was a huge backlash online. People were like, this is fucked up. Why does he have sleeves? Blah, blah, blah. And then Marvel did hold my beer. And they came out with another trailer. And then in the other trailer, Wolverine has no sleeves. Well, this is not really a fan theory because it's not about the plot of the movie. But people started talking about how, hey, this looks like they CG'd the sleeves off of him and CG'd muscular arms onto Wolverine.
That's what I need. That's what I need for Omni-Man. I need someone needs to CG my whole body apparently, so some fucking asshole doesn't be like, oh, looks like he missed a few days in the gym. Dink.
Mm-hmm. We'll get onto that, Jeff, with our massive Hollywood budget.
Yeah.
So the Corridor crew did an episode on this, and they totally CG'd fucking arms.
There now.
What? They CG'd arms.
Now, hold on. Is this still technically a theory? Like the guys of the Corridor crew are very knowledgeable, but it's not necessarily like they're not the end all be all. Like no one from the Marvel side has confirmed that this is what's happened. That's why we're talking about on fan theories, because it's not necessarily. It's just it's very likely at this point based on their expert observations of the footage that we've seen. Yeah. I'm confident that we're still going to see a sleeved Wolverine within the body of the film.
Me too.
I just think at some point the sleeves are going to come off, and obviously it's going to look like, it's going to look like CG. So not sure the true reason, but I heard he had sleeves because of a current skin condition and medical reasons. Correct. Yes, that's not a rumor. That is a fact. I guess Jackman. A lot of the film, especially there's a huge fight sequence, takes place in a desert. Jackman is prone to melanoma. You can see interviews in the past where he's got like a Band-Aid like on his nose. He's had a spot on his face. Mm-hmm. So he specifically requested to have sleeves. So skin condition. Yeah, clearly CGI the sleeves. As long as it looks good. As long as we're not talking the claws from X-Men Origins Wolverine. Holy shit, those CGI claws are the worst thing I've ever seen. As long as we're not talking about that, I'm sure. I mean, how hard could it be to do arms, honestly? Like, So yeah, but I guess so. That's what Sookie C was saying. It last Saturday is when their videos get posted. So watch the whole thing. So cool to see a breakdown of it. And of course, those guys are like the reflections from the explosion. That's like those guys are not just be like, oh, that might be, or even the seam thing. I guess they get real in depth.
Yeah. So the sleeve is supposed to be ripped, right? But
Right.
the rip changes
Right.
depending on the scene. The
Guys,
rip is different every time,
Hugh's
right?
like in his 50s. Let's give our boy Hugh a break. Like he could probably only get so jacked for this.
Well, he's fucking jacked, dude.
He's jacked when he does the Wolverine films. If you see him in between, he's not jacked at all. It's like Hemsworth, right? When Hemsworth is Thor, he juices like mad for 6 months and gets huge. But when he's not shooting Thor films, he doesn't look that much different from a regular dude. A very beautiful dude, but he's not like this massively jacked dude.
No, you're right.
Right?
But he is jacked right now.
Yeah. Yeah. What CC
yeah.
said, if he needed them for health reasons, yeah, no, 100%. No, we don't talk about those clauses. So you see, no, we don't, because whoo, Nelly, that was bad. Now, JS, do you want to start with an actual fan theory?
As opposed to one.
Well, I mean, this one was kind of like no, like any. Well, it's up to you. Do you want to count that as your first one that you kind of started off?
Sure, there you go. You can. Yes, okay, that's fine. Yeah, you can go now. Did you know?
Awful. Absolutely awful.
You have to do it now.
Did you know? Okay, there is all right. So did you know there's a famous scene in Avengers Infinity War? And by the way, this is one of the ones where it never even occurred to me that this is why this happened. But now that I've read it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Towards the end of Infinity War, when Thanos is going after the Mind Stone and he's trying to get to Vision, and Cap gets in his way, and he brings the glove down, the Infinity Gauntlet, that at this point has 5 of the 6 stones in it. It's the most powerful artifact in the universe at this point. And he brings the glove down on Cap, and Cap catches it and holds it there. And you can even see on Thanos' face, he's confused because he's trying to push Steve into the ground with it, and he can't. In fact, Thanos ends up having to use his other hand without the glove on it to smack Steve out of the way, and smack he does, and Steve goes flying. But he couldn't affect Steve with the gauntlet. Do you know why? Because in that moment, Steve's willpower was better than Thanos's, and he had temporary control of the gauntlet.
Because he's touching the gauntlet.
Because he's touching the gauntlet, and the gauntlet acts upon will. And because he has such a fortress of personality, because Cap has such a will, the will even to wield Mjolnir, when Thanos hits him with the glove itself, he can't get it past Steve because Steve is, in a sense, controlling the gauntlet itself. Not to the point where he can start accessing stones. Obviously, he wouldn't even know how to do that. But to the point where, but to the point where Thanos can't overpower him with the Power Stone right in the fucking glove. Like he goes toe to toe with Captain Marvel wearing the glove later on, and no problem. But in this instance, barely above human Cap can just stop him cold, and he has to use his other non-gauntlet hand to actually smack Steve out of the way. Steve's willpower is temporarily controlling that gauntlet, keeping him from being squashed by it.
I like this one.
Yeah, me too. As soon as I read it, I'm like, fuck, man, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Because he can't physically block Thanos' hand. Like we've said. He can't even block Thanos' main hand. Because Thanos just hits him with the other one, and he goes flying. Like, flying. He can't stop that from happening, but he can stop the gauntlet from affecting him in that moment.
Thanos is having a fist fight with the Hulk, like, earlier in the fucking movie, right?
That's what I'm saying. And that's when he's only got 2
Rogers,
stones.
yeah.
At this point, he's got 5.
Having a fist fight with the fucking Hulk, right?
He was outwilling Thanos in that moment for control of the Hulk, even though he's not actively using the stones.
I kind of like this one. And has there been any research been done into, like, has anybody at Marvel ever...
That I don't know.
Said anything about
because,
this?
Like I said, it's like... Because I remember even when the trailer, because that moment's in the trailer, and even then everybody was like, "How is this guy able to do this?" And I don't know that they've ever come out and said, "Well, this is how he's doing this." I think people were just supposed to like, "Well, it's Cap, and because it's Cap, we all could just have to buy into it." But like everybody else has been saying, like, "Are you fucking kidding me? It's Thanos." Thanos, like, yeah, you're right. Like he folded the Hulk like he was such a fucking cheap shirt. and easily defeated, by the way, all the rest of the Avengers. Like, no one else even gives him a time except for this one moment with Steve. Focused and centered on the gauntlet. Yeah.
That's interesting. And you're right. When I've seen the movie multiple times now, and I never even give it a second thought. Now that you mention this, you're right. How does he not just crush him? Break him in half.
Yep. And he practically does with his other non-gauntlet hand. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's my theory. That's actually not my theory, but it's pretty cool. It's like when in Stark Tower, a couple of them try to lift Thor's hammer. It actually moves for Steve at that point, which, by the way, that can segue into another theory that I'm going to get to as well. I got a couple of MCU theories, so I'm going to get to another theory about that very moment as well, too. But it's not my turn. It's this guy's turn.
Yeah, I have a MCU theory as well, and I'm not sure if we actually talked about this one last time, but I feel like we at least need to cover it quickly. It's the Stan Lee theory. We all know while Stan Lee was alive, he was in every single MCU movie that came out with.
And by the way,
cameo.
Even the non-MCU Marvel films, he was in a lot. Not quite all of them, but he was in a lot of them too.
Yeah. So the theory is that Stan Lee is playing the same character, even though it's a different persona, right? It's a different character every time you see him. The theory is he actually is the same character, and he is the Watcher, or
a Watcher.
In this
case, yes, not the one that we're familiar with, Uatu, that you see in the What If series.
No,
but there's more than one Watcher. Yeah.
And after this fan theory came out, Marvel even got on board with this, and then in Guardians 2?
I think at the post credits of Guardians 2.
Guardians 2, where he's sitting there in an astronaut suit talking with the Guardians, the Watchers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, listen, I like that they've included Stan Lee in all these movies, and it's become a running gag, and it's really too bad that he's no longer with us, because I think that without Stan Lee, we wouldn't have a lot of these properties and franchises that we 100%. All fucking love. No,
guaranteed.
So
no X-Men, no Spider-Man, no Fantastic. You don't get any of that shit.
None of it. No Iron Man, no. I mean,
no Captain America,
created the Hulk, but a lot of those characters we wouldn't have. Mm-hmm. So it's fantastic that they were able to include him in all of these movies. I love this theory.
I like him for a Watcher
because it makes him a little bit. He's a Watcher. Like he created all these characters, so him being a Watcher kind of makes sense, right? He's the one writing the story.
Well, the Watcher only
tells the story of What If. Right?
The only thing that would make sense that would probably be too much of a deep cut for a lot of the because in the Marvel universe, they do have a god per se. They have the one they call the one above all. So that would be the only other theory for Stan Lee that I would accept. Either he's a Watcher or he's the one above all. It's either one. I don't care which it is. But the fact that they literally showed him with other Watchers, clearly they leaned into it, like you said. And I like when I kind of like I get it's fan servicey, but who fucking cares? I'm a fan. Service me for fuck's sakes. Like, you knew everybody was saying he was a Watcher, so you had this little cutscene with him with the Watchers. Perfect. That's how you're supposed to do fan service, you dumb shits. Not whatever fucking craziness you're doing now. That to me is fan service, and it's brilliantly done. It's really well done.
Yeah.
We've lost JS to his telephone.
Sorry, I'm getting all sorts of spam right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why.
Spam.
All of a sudden, I just got like 4 or 5 spam calls and text messages. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, Megan, anyway. I have a Fallout fan theory if you guys want to go into recently released show. Of course, man.
Yeah, we would love to hear about that because I haven't heard about this one. But then again,
guys, we probably should have said too.
A lot about the Fallout universe. So
yeah, I don't either. I'm not going to lie. But we also want to hear your theories as well, guys. We may not be able to get to all of them, but I'm like, we're gonna run out before we would get all the way through this episode. So if you guys have fan theories, put them in the chat. We'll try to read out all the ones as best we can. And while we're here, I might as well stick with the MCU stuff and build off what Andrew said. It's like when in Stark Tower, a couple of them try to lift Thor's hammer. It actually moves for Steve at that point. The prevailing fan theory is Steve in that moment could have lifted it. And that's why it moves. And when Steve realizes he could pick it up in that moment, he does not.
Yeah.
Because right before that, Tony says, if I lift this, I rule Asgard, right? And Thor says yes. And I'm sure Steve was like, no, that's not something I want to happen. I think Steve walked up to the hammer fully expecting not to be able to move it. And when he realized he could pick it up, he was like, I don't want to pick it up in this moment. So that is the prevailing fan theory. And same thing, I've heard some rumblings from the MCU side to state, yeah, that is in fact what happened. He could have picked it up at that point. He chose not to in that moment, which I think lends a lot more weight. Because, by the way, when the hammer jiggles a bit, Thor's face goes from a big shit-eating grin to, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And that's why, of course, in Endgame, when he does pick it up, what are Thor's first words were, I knew it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think that one, again, same thing. Like, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Again, it's one of those fan theories that it's a tiny theory, right? It's one aspect of one little clip in one movie, right?
Oh, shots fired here from Audrey Ferguson because Steve
is better
than Tony. Well,
I mean, I don't know if Steve is better than
depends
Tony.
On what team you're on, man. Are you Team Cap or are you Team Iron Man?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if you saw this, but they had a bit of a disagreement. It's called Civil War.
Well, I mean, yes, I that's fine.
I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this or not, but there was Team Cap and Team Iron Man. And which team were you at the time? At the time, not now, but at the time, which team were you on?
So I was Team Iron Man.
I thought you might be.
And then
I'm sure you can guess what team I was.
And then I saw the movie and I was like, wait a second, this goes nothing like the comics. And then I was like, I'm fucking Team Cap, for fuck's sakes. What's going on here?
Well, let's be fair. None of the things that were named Infinity War did not resemble Infinity War or the Infinity Gauntlet in the comics.
No, fair enough.
Age of Ultron looked exactly nothing like Age of Ultron in the comics. So I mean, Marvel never followed.
Took a lot from the Avengers Assemble Ultron storyline.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they use the names for like because the cool names, and they use the names for a bit of recognition, but they never follow the comic.
Yeah.
It's your turn, sir.
Wasn't it?
If you've got another fan theory, mine was Steve could have lifted the hammer in Avengers Tower at the party. He just chose not to.
Right. Well, I'm going to go for another one here. This is the one that I've
seen this one too. I think we talked about this one in the last one, David, but we'll probably grab that one from you in a second.
What about Trelane from TOS Trek being a Q? Yeah, we did talk about that one.
I think we talked about it on our last fan theory. I think we kind of determined that he was like either a younger Q or a limited Q because his powers only worked on the planet.
Correct.
So he was somehow
as far as we know.
As far as we know, yeah.
Maybe he had no way to get off the planet because
that's what I mean.
He was a younger Q, or
the Q the Continuum had imprisoned him there.
Exactly right, but it's there's too much. They based Q on him. They've already admitted when they created the character of Q, it was 100% based on that character.
On Trelane,
they were trying to rehash that character basically. So I'm on board with that.
No, I'm board with that too for sure.
Yeah. We're gonna get out of like sci-fi MCU for a little bit. And we're gonna go a little bit more to like action fantasy stuff. Because one of the major fan theories that has been going on now for holy shit, almost 30 years. This movie is almost 30 years old, okay? And it's Michael Bay's The Rock. Guys, if you haven't seen The Rock is a fantastic movie with Sean Connery. And Nick Cage. Yeah, like fantastic movie. The theory goes that Sean Connery's character would actually be an older, disenfranchised James Bond. Disavowed James Bond.
Yes. There you go.
For a very, very long time, a lot of people have had the theory that James Bond, which we did talk about last time, the James Bond name in the 007 were given to an agent. That's how they have multiple James Bonds, is because it's not that person's real name. It's not,
right.
It's an alias that is given to that agent when that agent reaches the 00 level, right? 007's dead. We need to do 007 here. You're the new James Bond, right? This would lend credence to that fan theory.
Yes. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen, a guy on Reddit did like literally like a short novelette almost. He did a complete breakdown of so many different scenes and parallels between John Mason, the character Sean Connery plays on The Rock, and James Bond and the entire James Bond franchises. Like he makes a really, really good case for him being a disavowed James Bond.
It's very, very, very hard to not see The Rock as a James Bond sequel, as a Connery era Bond sequel after you've seen that video. After you've seen all the evidence and all the little things, it's nuts to me.
Okay. So Megan Murray with her theory, by the way, I do like that theory. I think that, like you said, that theory's been kicking around for some time. I do like that theory. I think the filmmakers have actually, I think that one's the opposite. I think the filmmakers have actually come out and said, no.
Correct.
That's not
Jerry
the case.
Bruckheimer has come out and said no.
No.
He's like, it's crossed my mind, which tells me he probably based it a little bit on what if.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But he did confirm that no, they're not. I mean, they're not the same universe. Period.
No.
Right? So.
Megan Marie saying, okay, so the antiferal drug that the ghouls are taking is a scam, and it's actually just a souped-up jet? I'm not sure that's right. And the effects we see in Cooper when he collapses with withdrawal effects and not the effects of going feral like we saw Roger going through earlier in the show. Megan, help me out. A souped-up jet. I don't know what that means. Actually, it's just a souped up something. I'm sure jet is a misprint.
So if that's the case, why isn't he turning feral? What's his deal?
I think that was one of my. I got to be honest with you.
After they stopped taking the
Oh, it is jet. Jet is the name of the drug in the game. Okay, so that's. I guess for me, that's kind of where it starts to like. For me, because I'm not a game guy, like anything that's not happening within the universe of the show, it doesn't. To me, I have a harder time interfacing with it, I guess. So, what does Jet in the game do then? Like that, then I don't know. Yeah, help me out and help me understand what Jet is in the game. Red Moon Glassworks, our friend Steph saying, are we looking for theories for shows that are complete or for ones with upcoming seasons? Either.
Yeah, either.
Yeah, Andre saying, so that's where that Mission Impossible got that disavowed ship come from. That's pretty much been in the spy game from the jump. Yeah. If you're a spy and you get caught in foreign lands or whatever, your government will disavow you. Like, he's not ours. We don't even know who the fuck that guy is. Go ahead and kill him. Didn't matter to me. That's what disavowed is. So it would make sense that that John Mason was a disavowed James Bond because he was caught, basically, right?
Yeah, he was caught and he was in jail. And
yeah. I do have one for my buddy JS. For one of his favorite characters in all of cinema. From, I believe, his favorite film franchise.
Tell me you're talking about Marty McFly.
We are talking about Back to the Future. We are not talking about Marty McFly. We're talking about Justice for Biff.
Oh, okay.
Despite did you know that despite what it originally looked like, did you know?
Do it without me.
Did you know? Despite what it originally looked like, Biff was leading his happiest life overall at the end of the first film.
100%. 100%.
So not only does he own his own business, and clearly doing something he enjoys, but in the other two versions of Biff we see at the beginning of the first film, he doesn't even know his own job. He has to get George to do his job for him. Yeah, he's miserable at that. He has no idea what he's doing. And if George, by the way, were to drop dead the next day, Biff would be fired immediately because Biff has no idea how to do his job. And in the other alternate timeline from Back to the Future 2, where he's mega rich, he's fucking miserable the whole time. But when we see him at the end of the Back to the Future, he has his own business. He's got his detailing truck with his name on it and everything else. And he's clearly doing something that he has an affinity for and a joy for. Probably based on his car back in 55 getting filled full of manure. I'm sure he had to pay somebody to do some of the fine detail work, but I'm sure he had to clean a lot of it himself. And he probably realized, hey, I'm actually pretty good at detailing cars.
I
And
can
so
make money
now
off of
in
this.
this alternate future, he's actually somewhat happy based on what Marty has done. So not only is Marty's family in a way better place, Biff's kind of in a
So's
better
Biff.
place too.
Yeah,
Justice for Biff, man.
I
Justice
like
for
it.
Biff.
Yeah,
That's
I
all I'm
like it.
saying.
I like it. I also
Yeah.
agree 100%. I mean, I don't think that's a fan theory as much as it is a fact. Like, you could tell that at the end of that movie, not only is he no longer a bully, but he's smiling and he's happy. And you're right, he's got his own business, and
I don't think that was the intention of the filmmakers. I'm sure Robert Zemeckis was like, let's put Biff in the best place he could possibly be. They wanted to have a complete role reversal, whereas at the beginning of the film, George is subservient to Biff, and at the end of the film, Biff is subservient to George. I'm sure that's really what they were going for.
100%.
But when then you look at Biff in that moment, wearing his tracksuit, polishing a car, he looks happy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
He genuinely looks happy at that moment. In fact, it might be the only time throughout the entire fucking series that he looks genuinely happy. So, to be fair, alienate Biff was married to Leah Thompson. I could live with that misery.
Alternate. I think
Alternate, yeah.
Alternate Biff.
I could live with that misery. Yeah.
Yeah,
She
unfortunately,
was actually
though,
she was just at Niagara Falls Comic Con. She looked like $1 million. She looked great.
she was, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they made sure she did look like $1 million in Back to the Future 2. I can tell you that. Like, they make her look like a freaking rag doll when she's married to Biff.
So even if it isn't Jet, says Megan, I like the theory it's a scam because they've never shown a drug keeping the ghouls from going feral in any game, and the way Cooper looks when he passes out seems like withdrawal. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That was one of the things about the show that I didn't fiercely enjoy is that, and I don't love shows that are just chock full of exposition, but they really didn't explain how he's still around after 220 years and how he keeps going and why he's immune to pain and death but still needs to eat and drink. Like a lot of what about him specifically doesn't make a lot of sense, and I think they should have taken a bit more time, a bit more exposition to have someone explain what a ghoul is, how it came to be, how it keeps going, and what, especially since they turn, no spoilers, but they turn one of the other characters in the show, one of the minor characters, they turn him into a ghoul. So, like, it would have been good to have some form of explanation. So, I like your theory, Megan, but it's already a character I don't fully understand anyway, so it's hard for me to, like, interface with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm on board with you. I don't really understand. I didn't really get it. I mean, it's a cool special effect, and it's a neat idea to have this 200-year-old ghoul walking around, but like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man.
For the non-gamers, we really have no real context beyond the little bits that they've told us, right? Like, they've been keeping him locked up, they've been feeding him and keeping him alive for 200. That's all we know, all right? Yeah.
For 220 years. Our friend Stephanie's got a sweet one for Stranger Things. Lay it on us.
Shoot, Steph. Yeah, shoot.
In the meantime,
I believe it's your turn, isn't it?
No, I just did Biff's Best Life. So.
Oh, you did.
That was strictly for you. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, I got to give it to my boy JS here.
Yes. Christine says, no, some things should stay a mystery. I hate them over-explaining everything. No, I agree.
In some cases, I do agree with you.
There's sometimes
in this
a problem.
particular case,
I'm going to use another quick example here, and I don't want to get into an Acolyte show, or into an Acolyte discussion, but one of my issues with the Acolyte right now is that it feels like it's a mystery for the sake of a mystery. And what I mean by that is it's like they're purposely trying to mislead us and not tell us the information that is crucial to solving the mystery.
Right.
And like, well, why the fuck are you putting a mystery in front of me if there's no way for me to solve the fucking mystery, right?
Right.
Like, you're making it so ambiguously ambiguous.
Right.
That none of it makes fucking sense. Like, you're 4 episodes in and you're still like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, dude.
Right? So anyway, that's all I'll say about that. I don't know which one I should be talking about. Maybe I should quickly talk about the Breaking Bad theory. And I don't know how I feel about this one. This is one that, for one, I wasn't into Breaking Bad like some other people were. So I don't know it as well as some other people do.
Right.
But from my understanding here, there is and maybe I'll read through the little bit of a paragraph that I have online for you guys. But did you know?
Fuck's sakes. Awful.
The Breaking Bad is actually a Walking Dead prequel. That's right.
So give me the blurb, because you mentioned this on the pre-show, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time making the connection. What's the
All
connection?
right. So listen to this. So through 5 seasons of Breaking Bad, Walter White was responsible for a number of horrific events, including his brother-in-law's death and a tragic plane crash. But one fan theory ponders whether his drug empire also could have resulted in the zombie apocalypse on The Walking Dead. The most compelling sign that Breaking Bad is a prequel to The Walking Dead is the presence of the blue meth in both series. The seed for this theory was planted in the second episode of The Walking Dead, in which Merle's secret drug stash strikes quite the resemblance to the product that turned Walter White into a kingpin. Further hints at possible connections between the AMC dramas, because they're both AMC shows, include a red sports car and a character named Glenn, Gus Fring, possibly being Patient Zero, and the description of Merle's drug dealer as a janky little white guy who Daryl quotes as saying, "I'm going to kill you, the B word, bitch." Breaking Bad's Jesse Pinkman does fit a physical description and sure did have a penchant for saying the particular B word.
A penchant, if you will.
So again, I again,
I mean, if it is, that's okay. Like, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Again, like we kind of talked about on the other thing that we discussed in the pre-show, the two things never cross over per se, and there would be no way for them to. So
I think if you had some sort of a prequel one-off, right, where like it's either like a mini series or like a made-for-TV movie that shows how the outbreak actually happened, and that somehow the actual meth is responsible for turning people into, like, they work that in, that would be, dude, that would break people's minds. They would make so much money off of something like that. It'd be nuts.
So here's where I'm actually going to back up what Christina said, what Christina literally just said. I love the fact that on the show and in the comic,
you don't really know.
Rick gets essentially knocked out,
is
in a coma, and when he wakes up, it's kind of like with 28 Days Later as well, right? Like Cillian Murphy's character goes into the hospital and everything's fine, and then he wakes up and the world has completely gone to shit. Yeah. And they've been really careful on The Walking Dead for however many 27 seasons it went, never to explain to you what happened. Never have flashbacks, never have point of view from somewhere else in the government where it shows what happened. I know Fear the Walking Dead started to show like sort of the breakdown of humanity. Like, it did start taking place earlier, but it still didn't explain how it occurred or what happened. For something like The Walking Dead, I kind of almost dig that a little bit more than trying to give you like an intricate step-by-step of how we got to the zombie apocalypse, if that makes sense.
100%. And I feel like if the zombie apocalypse did happen, we wouldn't really, I don't think there would necessarily be time for us to know what happened. There won't be news reports, and there won't be, political campaigns and elections.
Well, sometimes it can work, because if you watch The Last of Us, like The Last of Us, it's explained right from the jump. Like, we know exactly.
Well, fair enough.
We know exactly how the zombies came to be. We know exactly what happened, and in that case, it works. But I think for something like The Walking Dead, I don't know, man. I think it was pretty fucking cool that we never find out. Like, and maybe by now, I haven't watched all the shows, so I don't know if they have found a way to go back and explain it, but. I wouldn't. What your theory? Like, I wouldn't necessarily be mad at your theory if they actually did that. Like, if that came to pass, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, that's terrible. Don't do that." But at the same time, I kind of like that they left it all mysterious. It's what they should have done in the Matrix with Zion. They never should have shown us Zion.
Yeah,
never, ever, ever should have shown us Zion. Zion should have been just this magical place that we all envisioned in our minds that we never saw. But yeah, I don't know. Literally everyone who dies becomes a zombie, and there's no way that everyone in America got the drugs from Breaking Bad into their system. No, agreed.
No, and I don't think that's what this is saying. I think the idea is it's what started it, not
right.
Not that everybody
somehow everybody living on the planet does get infected. Like the point in The Walking Dead is
get infected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came across a cool one that I think.
Did you
know that probably has some merit when you kind of stop and think about it. So even though I guess the show kind of debunked this a little bit anyway, but I still appreciated this fan theory. Obi-Wan, did you know Obi-Wan was not sent to Tatooine to protect Luke in Star Wars, but to protect the universe from Luke should he choose his father's path?
So, okay. You keep talking. I'll tell you what I think about that one after you.
So
Done. You're trying to
the whole-
convince us about this kind of
it's
bullshit.
not even to try to convince, but I mean, I can see where they would kind of be coming from because Anakin Skywalker at the time was the chosen one, the one who would bring balance, the most powerful Force user they had ever seen, and ends up going and falling to the dark side. His son, if the potential were to exist for that same path to exist, Obi-Wan might not even know why he's being sent to Tatooine. Obi-Wan actually, in his mind, might actually think, no, I'm just here to make sure he's okay. But in reality, Bail Organa is like, no. You're there to make sure he doesn't become a powerful dark side user and fuck up the whole galaxy like his father's doing. If you see something like that happening, you got to take his ass out.
Well, somebody that's seen episode 3 more than me can maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's ever said that he is sent to Tatooine to protect Luke. He is sent to Tatooine to watch over Luke.
Right.
Right?
But when they talked about separating the kids, right?
Yeah.
They talked specifically like Leia is going with the Organas. She's going to be protected. And I think in the Obi-Wan show, they show that clearly that's what that is meant to be happening. I can't imagine the thought process that Bail Organa went through was, well, we're going to protect the girl, but fuck that kid over there on Tatooine. We don't give a shit what happens to him as long as he doesn't turn into a bad guy. I'm sure the theory was put him with his family and have Obi-Wan close by to watch over him to make sure nothing bad happens.
Yeah.
But in this case, the nothing bad happens is Luke.
Could be him. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's never spelled out that way, but I could kind of see him getting some kind of a directive from Bail Organa. Like the second you see him starting to turn, you put him down. He takes Luke there. It's all in the Obi-Wan series. Yes. Yeah. No, for sure. And it's clear he's trying to make a connection with him too. Like he makes him the toy and he wants to greet him. And Owen Lars is like, fuck you, get away from this guy, blah, blah, blah. We don't like you. Watch so he can be trained someday. Yes, absolutely. And he does, in fact, take him on to train him when he's way older than any other Jedi has ever been, as far as the initial training goes. But you got to think in the back of his mind, the whole time he must have been thinking, especially after the events of the Obi-Wan show. Because remember, on the show, Luke is still only like 10? And now Obi-Wan knows that Anakin is Vader. I'm sure at that point he's like, oh, I'm going to keep a real fucking close eye on this kid. Like one eyebrow twitch, one lowered voice, one fucking choke out on somebody. I have to take this kid out. This kid could destroy the galaxy. He's that powerful.
Yeah.
Just a fan theory. Just a theory. Just a theory.
Yeah.
That's what we're here to do. We're just here to discuss theories.
Yeah.
It makes sense from that narrative point of view. It was never presented in such, but because, of course, what's the first thing that Obi-Wan says to Luke as he walks up to him on Tatooine?
In A New Hope?
No. First time he meets Luke on Tatooine in the Obi-Wan show.
There.
Hello there. Of course. He's not there to fucking cause shit. He literally wants to make a connection with Luke. But at the same time.
Well, I think it's more, it's more than wanting to just make a connection, I think, right? I think it goes without saying.
Especially after he's so close to his sister, too, right?
Well, yeah. So, but there's also the whole. He is the offspring of the chosen one. You know, there is that.
That's what I'm saying. He was there to monitor Luke and make sure that he didn't become the next Vader. He loved Anakin like a brother, but had also seen the horrors he committed.
Yeah.
It had to have been occurring to him in the back of his mind. In fact, when you go back and watch it now, the whole time he recruits Luke and goes off planet with him and starts doing shit, it had to be in the back of his mind the whole fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know you're wearing this cool white karate gig and you want to go get some power converters from Tashi Station, but at the end of the day, your father was the worst human that's ever been in the galaxy.
There's another fan theory that says that Vader was a plant.
For who?
For Yoda, I guess. You know, a plant in the Sith.
Oh.
That was the whole point all along.
Oh.
Bide time until
the moment.
Which is dumb because he's killed so many Jedi.
I was about to say, I mean, he's slaughtered millions of people. I don't know how good that is, but
yeah, that's a silly one. But yeah. The hour's moving along, so there's a couple more that I wanted to quickly touch on. So, did you know Scooby Doo is actually about a bunch of kids trying to escape the draft?
What? What the fuck are you talking about? What?
The cartoon mystery franchise Scooby Doo never really explained why a ragtag group of 4 dissimilar teenagers decided to travel in a van to no known destination.
And solve mysteries because they were high as shit. What do you
So
mean?
A fan developed an origin story as the show premiered in 1969. It's the same year the Vietnam War was at its height. Oof. Did you see that? The brownout there? I'm about to get smited for revealing some truths here.
Smited. Smoten. Gang, he's about to be smoten.
So Vietnam War, Scooby-Doo gang is driving to Canada to escape the draft. The theory posits that the clean-cut Fred was drafted but ran away with his fiancée Daphne, while hippie Shaggy and activist Velma joined them as they both opposed the war themselves. So they're not just traveling, solving mysteries. They're literally on the run. Yeah,
dodging the draft and getting high along the way.
Draft dodgers, yeah, smoking so much weed, they're seeing ghosts and goblins.
Yeah, I like it more that the whole thing is just a giant fucking acid trip. Is what I kind of is where I would be on that. That would be way more plausible to me than them just dodging the draft. But you could throw dodging the draft in there as well, for sure.
Oh yeah,
Storm's
agenda thing. There's a storm rolling in.
Storm's brewing in.
Yeah. I believe it is your turn. You have another quick one you want to throw?
Did you know the Joker was the real hero of The Dark Knight?
Huh?
Despite his claims otherwise, the Joker really was the man with the plan. Throughout the film, the Joker is purposely murdering key criminals and corrupt officials that could help insulate those at the top. Dent actually argues for insulating the men at the top in the interest of cleaning up the streets of lower-level goons, but Joker knows that won't work in a long term. So, after a bit, Joker has a pretty clear path to getting rid of the organized crime problem and the corrupt officials problem, but the vigilante problem remains. As we saw at the beginning of the film, Batman was inspiring other vigilantes, and a society cannot stand when each individual takes their own justice. The symbol of fear and unbridled vengeance needed to be stopped, but not killed. Batman were killed, he would just be a martyr and his symbol would live on. So instead, Joker made him a villain and Batman had no choice but to disappear. In the end, Gotham was clean because of the Joker. He eliminated the corrupt police, he destroyed the organized crime syndicate, and he uplifted Gotham's spirits and even got rid of the flying pest known as the Batman.
He also blew up a hospital.
Okay, all right.
And killed an ADA
mostly empty hospital. A mostly empty hospital. He didn't blow up the boats.
I mean,
before the Joker, Gotham was a mess. Entire sections of the cities were closed off due to madness. Organized crime ran rampant, and the majority of important city officials were wildly corrupt.
I don't know, man. That's
Could it be argued he did more to clean up Gotham than Batman ever did, though, by taking out the almost the entirety of the organized crime syndicate in essentially one fell swoop? Something Batman simply couldn't. He had drove a lot of them underground.
Sure.
And
so
Joker
are we
killed
arguing
some
that
cops.
going around killing people is okay?
No, but if you're going to kill people, corrupt officials and mob bosses is not the worst place to start. The Machiavelli approach is Andrew Saxon.
Yeah, I 100% agree, but I think that the whole point of Batman and Superman and all these superheroes is the reason they're heroes is because they don't do evil. They don't kill people, right?
Right. I mean, the Avengers, by the way, kill people all the fucking time.
Well,
but I mean, I do know what you're saying. They're a little bit different on the DC
left
side
and right,
of things.
but
that's what I'm saying. The DC villains are kind of right. Ivy and Freeze just want the plan to be posted. Yeah, I've seen that little meme.
You're right.
Yeah.
A lot of the I don't want to get into a DC versus Marvel.
No, that's okay. But we're having a discussion. That's what this is for.
That's why so many people, especially when we were kids, were able to relate to the DC characters, is because they were all very human. Even the alien characters are all very human. They don't just do shit to do shit. I want $2 million. No, right? Mr. Freeze has a purpose, right? Ivy
Right.
has a purpose. Like
Right.
these are villains because of the situation that they're in, right?
Can we say Batman is a hero or is he an anti-hero? Yeah, let's all not forget, guys. Batman's superpower is beating the holy shit out of people. So
Well,
Batman
yeah.
does. You're right. He doesn't kill, but he leaves people with probably physical disabilities for the rest of their lives. Like Batman does not fuck about
Well-
when it comes time to crime. Like it's not like he just
Oh,
goes up
fair
to criminals
enough.
and be like, "Tell me all your plans," and they just monologue to him. No. He beats the holy shit out of them to a point where he's almost worse than even a Superman, because Superman can't do that because he would just kill people.
Mhm.
But Batman has no compunctions because essentially Batman is just he's in peak physical condition, but he's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's just a guy that happens to be really good at beating up other guys.
He's just
And he
again,
beats
too.
up other guys all the time. That's his whole shtick, is beating up people.
Yeah.
Batman's power is being rich. It kind of is, but even if Batman was poor, he would still have the exact same power set. He just wouldn't have as many toys.
Yeah.
His power would still be... People aren't afraid of Batman on the street because he's rich. They're afraid of Batman on the street because he beats the holy fuck out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say, maybe Joker being the hero of the Dark Knight is a bit of a stretch, but did Joker's actions end up doing some good for Gotham overall? I think they maybe did. Got rid of all the mobbers, got rid of most of the corrupt politicians and such. I don't know, man. I'm just saying. He turned the mirror back against Gotham and made them look at themselves, and then he punished them for it. The ones that needed to be punished. And instead of beating the shit, I'm like, Batman, what? He killed them. Is killing right? No. But if you're going to kill people, people that kill people,
to kill.
not the worst thing in the world. Anyways.
So
Did you have another fan theory, sir?
was what's her name? Rachel? Is that her name?
Rachel Dawes? From the first two films?
Yeah, the one that
Yeah.
dies. And
Yeah. Well, it's just two different actresses, right? The good
two
one and
different
then Maggie
actresses.
Gyllenhaal.
Well, yeah, fair enough. But what just happened there? Looks like we just lost our buddy Jeff here.
Oh,
Viewers cannot see. What's going on?
well.
We both got bumped for a
Woo,
second.
guys,
there.
I
That
promise
was
you, it's still going on.
a little bit weird.
You froze completely, and then the whole stream died.
Well,
so-
you dropped.
Oh, I dropped completely? Oh.
Yeah,
all right.
you dropped, and it looked like I was still here, but then I disappeared as well. Listen, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I think this storm is wreaking havoc. So,
Probably.
you know, we are at the top of the hour, so I did have a couple of extra ones.
Let me get to Stephanie's really quickly here. For
Yeah.
Stranger Things, there's a theory that Eddie will be undead and become Kaz the Bloody-Handed as Vecna's lieutenant.
Hey,
I mean, the character was enormously popular, and the dude ended up getting pop. I mean, that dude who had only had a small role on Game of Thrones before Stranger Things is now Johnny fucking Storm in Fantastic Four.
he was in Power Rangers. He
sure.
was in a couple things.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
You both dropped. Yeah.
you both dropped. Well, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, that happens. That would be cool. I could see them bringing him back if he's got time now. Like I said, his popularity since the show has blown up, so I don't know if he'd have time. But I'd be down for that if that was going to be the case. That's why I love the ending of the Batman. By the way, showed a real compassionate side to him. Yeah, something that we haven't really seen outside of the animated stuff. So yeah, I feel the same way, Andre. Sorry. Yeah, very cool. Anyways, sorry. Go ahead, JS. You had a couple you want to mention?
Yeah, the Grease theory. I mean, for those of our age group anyway, I'm sure you've seen Grease, and actually, I'm pretty sure everybody in this chat has probably seen Grease at this point.
Nope.
You've never seen Grease, so interesting. Well, listen, in Grease, when they meet at the beginning, he basically saves her life as she's drowning. The theory goes that he didn't save her life, and that they both actually drown, and that's why that at the end of the movie, when they're flying off away in their car in the clouds, that's actually them moving on. So yeah, I'm not going to read through the whole thing because, you know, it's really not that important. Hardy's Mad Max, Tom Hardy's Mad Max movie. Mad Max actually being the feral kid from Road Warrior. I don't remember if we talked about this one last time, but I guess the theory goes that he is not the original Mad Max. he is actually the kid, the feral kid with the crazy hair in not Fury Road, but Road Warrior.
The Road Warrior, yeah.
What do you think about this one, quickly?
I think George Miller, who's the guy that's done all the films now, because I guess even the new Furiosa film still kind of fucks with the overall timeline. And I guess Miller's been one of those guys like, stop thinking about the fucking, like, he's not really that focused on, because none of it really lines up between any of the 5 films now, as far as the timeline goes. So if it turned out to be the feral kid, like, I wouldn't be mad about it. Like, but again, at the end of the day, like, I don't know how much it would really affect anything. Like, if they had a callback to it in a future film, which, by the way, Furiosa bombed, so I don't know if we're going to get another Mad Max film, unfortunately, or if they're going to have to take another 20 years off before they make another one. But if they came back in the future film and they're like, oh, well, this is what, then, I mean, I guess it'd be like, oh, that's kind of neat, but I don't mind it. It's not a terrible theory. It's not terrible. It fucks with the timeline terribly, but I mean, because we already see Max in that film, so it's a different Max Rockatansky, like it's a different guy. So he just adopted Max's name because he knew him from the Road Warrior.
I guess
kind of like the prevailing theory of what it would be.
Yeah, that
that's not terrible. That's not terrible. I don't hate that. No, I don't hate that. No, I don't hate that. I'd be all right with that. Like I said, that universe is so fucking weird anyway. Like, I don't know that you could really hit me with any theory that would be like, oh, hey, by the way, I'd be like, oh no, that's too weird. I have seen that, Andrew. I've seen that before, and that's 100% fact. Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, the same end result would have happened even if Indy wasn't there. They would have found the Ark soon enough, held their opening ceremony. Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
They would have taken it to the desert. They would have opened it up. In fact, the theory goes, it actually would have been better had Indy not been there, because there was a good chance the Ark would have went all the way back to Hitler, and he would have opened it and killed him and his entire cabinet, and the war would have been over like that. But because Indy was there, it forced their hand to open it before they got it back to Germany, and then you saw it killed all of them, but it didn't really kill anybody important. So yes, I have seen that, but I've seen it go even further. Like, they would have been better if Indiana Jones had not been involved in that in any way, shape, or form. They had just found the Ark, brought it back to the Führer, and it would have killed him.
I mean, as good as those movies were, at least the first 3, let's say.
Yeah, I know Temple of Doom. People don't like Temple of Doom. I love Temple of Doom, but
yeah, I
get why people don't like it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
It was still good. Did any of those stories actually make a difference in the ending of how things end and move on? It's like, if this had never happened,
not really. No, like, even with the whole, even the Last Crusade. Yeah, like the one dude picks the wrong Grail and he's dead. Indy only needs the real Grail to heal his dad, who, if they'd never been there, would have needed it. And then they don't end up taking then they don't take the Grail anyway. So no, nothing changes. That's absolutely everything is exactly the same.
Yeah, Megan is saying I still haven't seen the newest one. I don't want to watch it.
It's nowhere.
Watch it though. I haven't seen it either.
It's nowhere near as bad as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which I get is like saying it's wetter than the desert. I understand that, but it's not the first 3, but it's way better than Crystal Skull. It's a serviceable Indiana Jones film.
Maybe I'll watch it tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're like one of those ones that's like, Temple of Doom isn't really my favorite, it's probably you're probably going to find Dial of Destiny on par with Temple of Doom.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It's not Raiders and it's not Last Crusade.
Does it have like that campy, silly, almost funny stuff in it?
It does. It does have a bit of that. But I think, Megan, there's going to be elements of it that you're actually really going to enjoy and appreciate. So I would definitely suggest you check it out in particular. I think there's a certain plot line that you'd be like, I'm into this, I'm down for that. So, but yeah, if you haven't watched it, I mean, I think you would do yourself a favor just to watch it anyway. So I still enjoy Crystal Skull. Well, never mind. How do we kick Megan out of the Geeks and Company? Can we take a vote? I know Jen's going to vote for her anyway because Jen loves her, but I mean, that's inexcusable. You can't say you enjoyed. Nate, what is, other than Cate Blanchett, what is there in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull to enjoy? I watched it when I was a kid, though, so low bar. Oh, I'm always reminded of how young Megan is. That also makes me sad. I watched Crystal Skull when I was a kid. Fuck.
Guys, if you have more fan theories that you want to chat about or talk about, hey, make sure you post them in the chat below. Or even better, you can also go on our Instagram page, post them on our Instagram page.
No. Leave them as a comment. Don't put it in the chat. Leave them as a comment below this video. Let's start a conversation below the video with other theories that you guys have. we can respond to. Yeah, for sure. Because we find we get all kinds of chat on these, but we don't get many comments post. And I understand because you guys have had a lot what you got to say in the chat. That makes sense. But I guarantee you guys have some other fan theories. Yeah, Kate Blanchett was a pretty decent reason, to be frank. Yeah, I mean, Kate Blanchett is a good reason for really anything at the end of the day. But it wasn't enough to save that fucking movie. I'll tell you that right now, because that movie is dog shit.
Guys, if you were at our first inaugural Can't Get Rid of a Bomb relay race at Niagara Falls Comic-Con, and you've got some content, some footage, some videos, some pictures, get them my way. Got a bunch of photographers there, but I'm still waiting for all those pictures to come in. I still don't have anything from anybody.
Okay, my apologies. Our good friend Ben, Ben Jammin Photos, gave me a thumb drive with over 200 pictures of that event on it.
Perfect.
I will make sure that I get those up into a Google Drive this weekend for you, sir. No problem at all.
That would be fantastic. I'm sure people will want to see some of the crazy pictures we got there. I know for a fact I want to see them.
Andre Ferguson, I feel like a grandpa in here. Andre, oh, by the way, for anybody that knows me personally, I don't share a lot of personal information on here, but I am a grandfather for the second time as of just this past Friday.
Are you really?
Yes.
I didn't even know your kid was pregnant.
Well, again, I don't talk about a lot of my personal life on here, so yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're no longer con daddy. You're like con
granddad. Yeah.
Con granddad.
Grandzaddy. 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 So another bouncing baby girl, 8 pounds, 12 ounces. She was beefy. And we haven't like I'm involved, but they're still trying to figure out a name. 6 days later, they're still trying to pick a name. You have 30 days, so they're really stretching it out. They've got it narrowed down to a few. I'm not going to spoil anything, but when we finally get a name confirmed, thanks, guys. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, honestly.
Not Sarah. This is
Samantha, my oldest Samantha. Yeah. So my youngest is Sarah, so I grabbed her right after work. We went out to Stratford where the baby was born. And I mean, I was not in the room when it happened for obvious reasons. I was asleep on a couch out in the middle of the waiting room there, but as soon as she came out, my youngest, who was in the room, came out and got me and said, it's a girl. And then we got to go in and we got to see her minutes after she was born. And she's beautiful and she's awesome. And it's pretty cool. I give them grief all the time for making me a grandfather, but bet she will have you wrapped around her finger. Well, her sister already does. So there's no question in my mind that this one's going to as well. So Baby Groot says, rated cosplay. No, sir. No. She'll be a baby comedian. That's what she'll be. Yes. So some personal news to share. I normally don't do that, but I wanted to share with everybody. Yes. So there will not be pictures forthcoming. Unfortunately,
you bring a bunch of little ones in costume to a con.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure that will happen at some point. So thank you, everybody. By the way, I appreciate that. It's pretty cool. Anywho,
that is wicked. Thanks everybody for sticking with us. There's still
absolutely
left in here. Thanks for sticking around. If you haven't clicked that like button yet, please do. Once again, if you're not subscribed, the fuck is wrong with you?
Thanks, Tammy. Appreciate it.
Come on, guys. Thank you very much. Great podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Absolutely
guys,
appreciate it.
We're here every Thursday live at 7 p.m. on YouTube. But you guys know you can always listen to us on your favorite podcast platform, so make sure you go give us a like over there as well. Again,
we would not be mad at a 5-star rating on Spotify either. I did post it on my stories, a step-by-step how to do that. I'll post that again. Some of you did go in there and do that for us, so we really appreciate it. But yeah, obviously more and more is not going to hurt. As JS has said, it's going to let people know that, hey, not only are we out there, but people like it. So we want to have more people tuning into the podcast and checking out what we got to say. So
yeah, and share your fan theories with us below so that next time when we do the next episode, we could pull from some of yours.
Yes.
I know there's hundreds of, if not millions of fan theories out there. So drop them all below.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be it for now, though.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay geeky. See you next week. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Geek Boutique Podcast. Like always, if you prefer to listen to us, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. Now, make sure you don't forget to click that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell to make sure you never miss an episode.